Hey, yo, how's it going, boys? What is up? Sora's back once again for another Suptix video thing on needing to help you guys on what to pick and shit. Yep, we're gonna go right in. So I'm just gonna explain how this is gonna work. So first, I'm going to talk about basically all the new characters that got added into this Suptix. More like they probably did get added last Anythix, but we don't really count about that because Anythix are all gonna pick limited characters anyway, so I don't really consider that as being already released in the Suptix. So I'm gonna include the ones that only get added in this Anythix into this one. So there are quite a few, which includes like Shiro and stuff like that. So I'm gonna mention those, and then I'm also gonna mention a little bit about like if you probably need a little bit of help for the upcoming Dread Barrage or some shit, which is in June. I know Guild War is relatively far, but for those who actually care about Guild War, you probably want to go for that. Then yeah, I'm gonna talk about the Guild War stuff as well. Alright, so first on fire we have Vaseraga. Where's Vaseraga? Okay, so Vaseraga is quite nice because he's basically a living tank. He just doesn't die. That's the TLDR. If you want a guy that doesn't die, that helps you just survive everything, yeah, then yeah, just get him, I suppose, because he really just doesn't die. Yep, very cool guy. He has very cool armor and shit because this was added in the anniversary event and shit. But yeah, like, yeah, I mean, I could just go really deep into this, but it's just better if you want. Just better off just go watch the first impressions that I had about this character. It's still pretty much similar anyway, so just go with that. So next is Water. We have two new characters. Where's the first one? Where is Feline? Yeah, Feline. Okay, so Feline is kind of like she kind of wants to be like Lily in a way, but at the same time is different. She's more geared towards like, instead of just like how Lily turns out to be, which is very focused on like sustain and all that shit, right? But she's more towards like just nuking and shit. That was a little mistake I just mentioned a moment ago. Like, the reason why I said that she was good with Lily is the fact that because Lily is also another character that very provides all the the glaciate, the nukes, the sustain, the extra damage, you know, because you know you have like glaciate, Lily's gonna be able to hit a lot harder, those kind of stuff, or you're using macula and stuff like that, right? But the reason why I said I made a mistake there is just the fact that if you're planning to pair Feline with Lily, right? If you're planning to do that with Lily, it's going to be a problem because Lily requires you to have multiple different types of races, right? That was the part I actually misunderstood earlier. And the reason why I say that is because Feline is also an unknown character, which is not going to allow Lily to be able to do like you know, like I think activate twice or some shit like that. So I mean, it's just like a very small issue, but it's not really that bad. But yeah, but for the most part, I remember I tried testing her with like macula and stuff. She was pretty okay, but I wouldn't really warrant her to be like a good subtickable character. So nah, it's just like if you really want a character like her, just better off picking like Lily or something. It's not really that great, to be honest. She's just very mediocre. Next is Zeta. Water meta character. You don't have her, you don't play water. Okay. Alright, next. I'm just kidding though, but obviously you can still play water without her, but like, yeah, Zeta is just fucking strong. It's like, if you really want to know like in depth on what I want to mention anything about her, just go watch my first impressions video. I already mentioned everything that is needed to know about her at that time. She's just that strong, okay? Earth is... Alright, so Lamreta, I remember she looks very meme, okay? She looks very meme, but she's actually not too bad. But at the same time, it's like, it's much better if you're planning to use like an actual character, like maybe can help you in your Guild War or some shit like that. I would really suggest you to pick another character. She's kind of like one of those characters that you just use like maybe a few runs just to have fun and stuff like that, and then just to fuck around and shit like that, and then you just ignore it for the rest of the time because you're probably just gonna go back to either Christmas Naru Sandafon and all that shit, yada yada yada, you know? Yeah, those kind of stuff. It's like you just use for a bit. So I wouldn't really suggest you to pick her. She can be a nice character to use and play around, but like even her skill set seems really good because, you know, this is pretty strong. This one hits really strong. Her heal is kind of okay as well, but yeah, not really the greatest. Win, we have Nectar. So Nectar is another guy that has Assassin or some shit, right? Whenever he has mana flow or something. Yeah, he is, if I recall correctly, he can actually Assassin relatively often as well in like if you're planning to use him in like generic setups and stuff like that. He is actually pretty good, like in that sense. I think you could probably even use him for like bursting down stuff and shit, but the only problem is that he needs this, right? If you can actually somehow get to 100 meter at the start, then yeah, or maybe like you just use him for assault time and such, you probably could, but I wouldn't really warrant him to be a Supticable character, like a good Supticable character. I mean, it's okay, it's just one of those characters like if you really like Win a lot and then you're only missing like this certain few, he is probably a really good character to aim for anyway. But yeah, because a lot of times like when it comes to like Win characters anyway, you just go for Naru or some shit like that. just Suptix Zeph or something. light. Alright, Farah Yuri. Okay, so Farah Yuri is another character that is very generic, but it's kind of like, how do I say, they are a generic / average type of character, but like they are the character that can provide a little bit more than besides, you know, being a standard generic / mediocre character. Because this too is actually pretty good because you can kind of like, you technically can still kind of like full auto with this character as well, and like because end of the day, because eventually you're gonna be able to cap both of these, the stack thingy, right? Because one is require them to triple attack, the other one is required to get hit, right? So as long as they get targeted or whatever, like even though it's a miss or whatever, they'll still get the stack, right? As long as they get targeted, and they'll get the shield thingy. So basically, as long as they do that, they can eventually get it all up, and that's all it matters, right? As long as you can just try to get their both of their stacks up, you're pretty much like good to go already. And they're pretty much like at that point they can do relatively okay damage too. But like yeah, for the most part, I feel like at this point, if you're like basically like around mid game or some shit like that, it's much better to just pick like the previous ones that, you know, like Gawain or some shit if you haven't gotten yet. Those characters are much better to have anyway in comparison to like Farah and Yuri anyway. They are pretty okay, but like yeah, you only just do it for the sake of completion purposes or whatnot. Mishra is basically trying to be like Summer Korwa, I guess. Yeah, because it's technically similar anyway. Which eventually you can put to everyone, because this is all permanent. You can eventually just put it on everyone, and yeah, everyone just have that. But like, yeah, she's just like kind of like a Summer Korwa, but because at that time when she was released, Summer Korwa was just technically like slightly after she was released. It was only just like I think 1 or 2 months or some shit. Then she got Summer Korwa got buffed or something, right? So that's why. So it's kind of like that, but it's kind of like weaker because, you know, her cooldowns are still relatively slow. You can't really like, you know, speed the shit up and stuff. So no, not really a good character to Suptix either, but yeah. So last one is Shiro. He's probably one of the much better characters to have in comparison, like all the other ones I mentioned besides Zeta, obviously. Shiro / Nicholas is obviously an OTK character, but besides being an OTK character, he is also a very strong, like Supticable character, you would say, that you can do, you know, like he can double strike. But I think one of the main issues he has is the fact that there are some, I think it's his Ogi or some shit, yeah. Because his Ogi automatically triggers this, right? Which, like, if you're already at 5, it doesn't trigger his double strike. you know, like within the turn itself, which is kind of weird. So that's kind of like the unfortunate thing. But like besides that, but like you can get your thing done because you use this, you can get your double strike. Or if not, if your this thing is already in the what's that? Like it's already been like cooldown is already off, and you're already at 5 stacks, right? You can technically still get this. You do double strike, and then the following turn you press this, and you can get double strike again in the following turn. So yeah, that can kind of be done like that. So he's still pretty good. Like his character is just really all in, lots of nuking, lots of attacks. Like yeah, he because he can technically double strike relatively often once you get his what's that? He's breaking the limit thing to 5 stacks. So he can do relatively good damage once he's at that point. But the other really cool thing about this guy is obviously he can turn into a goddamn giant fucking robot, which yeah, it's just fucking amazing, right? Seeing that shit happen. I'm sure you can also just watch my previous first impressions of him when I was testing him out and all that shit. It was fucking cool. But keep in mind that one of the main issues that his Gundam is experiencing right now is the fact that he's getting capped on the hard capped in the game. You may be able to see, like, if you're using him in like training dummy or some shit, he can easily hit like 10 plus million on his light damage or some shit like that. You can easily hit that much, but the problem is you can never see that damage because in a standard game, in the standard rates or whatever, you're hard capped, or every character is hard capped at 6.5 million damage on Ogi, unless you have specific characters that allows you to go over the cap, which is Grand Cag, for example. So yeah, that's one of the sad things I would say for Nicholas or Shiro, because honestly his Gundam shit is fucking amazing. That's one of the coolest shit I've ever seen in quite some time, to be honest. Like, but even so, right, you can technically oh yeah, one very important note, okay? If you're planning to use him for full auto, technically it's better to not use this at all. You should technically just ignore this skill if you're just really just prioritizing him on just going full auto. Because it's a lot better to just let him do all this shit and just ignore this altogether, because there's really no reason for you to press this at all, and especially in full auto, because it kind of slows you down quite a bit, especially if you're using him in full auto. If you're manual, then yeah, you can just do whatever fuck you want, right? He's regardless a very solid Suptixable character for light, 100%. He has definitely approval for me if you're planning to like get a relatively good usable attacker type of character for light, or if you're having like issues with OTK with light or whatever. Shiro is gonna be that guy for you. He helps a lot in OTK. I mean, obviously there are other characters that helps you OTK, but yeah, this guy is pretty good for that as well. The final one, right? Yeah, the final new character is Zahek. If I recall correctly, he can kind of be like an OTK character. There's so many other OTK characters that you can actually consider, which is a lot better than this guy. So yeah, just go for that, because he's not really a good character. Yeah, just ignore this guy. I mean, his name even sounds like a meme already, so just ignore it. All right, before I go into the whole Dread Barrage thing, right? That's actually a good point that brought up by Mr. Lemon, where because they recently got updated, which is back in early last month, if I recall correctly. So we have like quite a few limited characters and Suptixable characters that got rebalanced, right? So I'm just gonna briefly mention about them, seeing whether if it's worth it or not. But TLDR, they are all good, but that's not really like, I wouldn't really say is warrant for a to grab them, but there's only one that's probably worth grabbing anyway. So the first one is Clarice. Where's Clarice? Where's Clarice? Where's Clarice? Where's Clarice? Where's Clarice? Where the fuck is she? Oh, there she is. Clarice is actually a character that I remember, I think a lot of people only consider using for like proving grounds. You know, like the previous proving grounds, I think a lot of people used there, myself included. And also, like, you just use it for the sake of like OTK, right? If you have problems like getting like OTK or some shit like that, then yeah, she's probably good for you, because she does allow you to gain a lot of damage. But the problem with that is she requires some buttons to press. Like if you're a lot weaker than what, you know, like obviously not, like, you know, if you're not around anywhere close to like mid game or whatever, then yeah, she can probably help you a lot because she provides a lot of damage and shit like that. But like, one of the main changes what she got from the rebalance is the fact that you can probably use her in like generic raids right now. Like, instead of just aiming to just OTK with her, it's a lot easier for her to be like being used in like generic setups right now. So if you're still on the early side and you want like a light character or some shit, yeah, I don't think you can go wrong with Clarice, because Clarice is still pretty strong anyway. But like, in comparison to like these other character I'm about to get towards to, if you don't have this guy, I think it's much better to go for this guy either way. So the other one that got rebalanced is Light Percival. Where is he? So Percival, he got changed quite a bit. He's probably one of the best subtickable character that was revamped during the rebalance time. Like, among the entire list that got rebalanced, right, the subtickable ones, he's probably one of the better ones, because he can basically provide you with this all the time. He can stack your crest like crazy, and like, yeah, this helps a lot. I mean, like the fear is petrify is kind of like whatever. This one helps quite a bit. But like, this is the one that really helps your team a lot, because this is just gonna be done like all the time. Because, you know, it allows him, every time you Ogi, right, it allows him to reset this on cooldown. So basically, multi-attack and echo, you're just gonna get it like all the time, in a nutshell. And not to mention, this thing allows him to, you know, deal quite a bit of damage. So it helps a lot, because, you know, he automatically nukes as well. So, you know, like, say for example, if you already managed to roll like Anglo Veil or some shit, like Valentine Anglo Veil, he's probably another character that you can kind of like tag along with, because, you know, you get so much relatively easy crest generation with just having this guy and his brother. Basically, having the both brothers in the same team is just really, really nice. If you're planning to have that kind of setup, it really is nice, especially if you're going like full auto shit. They're pretty good, really good for full auto stuff, this guy. So just a little note if you're looking for that type of character. The next one is Lady Grey. Lady Grey, where is she? Alright, so Lady Grey's change turns out to be a much better version now. Like, I know she still relies on the amount of the amount of debuffs and shit, and also she kind of needs to have like the what's that, poison or whatever. Yeah, so it's like she has a lot of debuffs basically, right? She does this, she does poison and stuff like that, right? But the problem with Lady Grey is that you would want to have at least on MC, or at least another character that provides a little bit extra debuff, just so you can have a lot of debuffs, so you can actually cap on your CA specs. And also it allows you to get this because you need at least 10 or more debuffs, so you can activate this twice. The reason why I said that this is really good is because how do I say this? Her nuke, right? Because now you can actually activate twice. This thing hits relatively hard, and plus because you have this on her now, right? This is actually really, really strong too. So on Ogi, she can hit, I think, at least she's somewhat to be like an on par character to like a 2021 type of character. Her damage numbers is a lot better than what it originally has. Because before this, like before the update, she was just absolute hot garbage. She has a lot of nice stuff basically. So like, yeah, if you need a character that, you know, relies on a lot of a lot of hits, a lot of debuffs and shit like that, it's quite nice to have her. I remember I tried using her in several like random raids just for the hell of it. She's pretty nice. She can hit relatively hard, And if I recall correctly, I think if you really want to see like the most recent one I tested for her, you can refer to the video or when I tested the Full Limit Break Dark Eustace, because I tried using her with Dark Eustace and it's actually not bad. Her damage is pretty good. It's a little bit clunky either way, but it's still okay. You can still use a character like her, you know. It's nice. So yeah, if you want, by all means. I mean, there's obviously other better dark characters, but yeah, you can just, yeah, you know. Move on to Full Limit Break characters that got added in between the last Suptix and now. Whether is it worth to grab them or not, or whether is it gonna help you to, I don't know, decide whether is it worth to pick up or not, I suppose. Alright, so first is Eustace, right? Alright, so first is that because Eustace just got Full Limit Break not too long ago, and whether or not if you want to pick him up, I can easily tell you that if you're on the relatively weaker side of things, if you're lacking in a lot of multi-attack and shit like that, and you want to Ogi relatively often, Eustace is a really good character. Like, I remember, like, until now, since I got him to Full Limit Break, right, until now, I'm actually still using him for the hell of it, and like, especially in the likes of, you guys remember, if you go back to that video I watched with that I did for Eustace, right, that I showed you guys the Metatron stuff, I am actually still using that almost same identical theme that I did for that video until today for Metatron stuff. Like, for Metatron, I'm still using this guy with MC Relic Buster and shit. The only difference is that I swapped my Orchid with the likes of 6, because my 6 is already 130, so I'm just gonna abuse that. But yeah, Eustace is a really good character because, like, he just provides all of your meter generation. Like, as long as he linked himself, because you just Splinter Cell, right? This Splinter Cell is basically linking himself with another character because both of them will have the buff. So it's like, as long as he linked to another person, the other person and himself will get like a fuckload of meter generation because of the massive uplift that you can get from this thing. You see, you get charge bar, and then you get like crazy amount of multi-attack because you have basically guaranteed double. But if I recall correctly, the triple is like what, the 50% or some shit like that, right? So it's fucking amazing. And then his Full Limit Break also gets upgraded to 20% uplift. So the amount of meter you can get just by activating this along with your other member is just fucking absurd. And then he gets so much overcap as well because of his third skill. His third skill upgrade is just so massive now. The one of the main things that he gets upgraded for this is because he is able to get two turn cut to his skill cooldowns, right? And because he has so much meter generation, he Ogi so often that you can basically have this skill up permanently. That's why he's so strong. He helps your entire team to be able to overcap so easily. It's really nice. And then this one is kind of like an extra thing where it allows him to either throw the yellow grenade or the red grenade. So it's either you get this two. Wait, is it? No, you get this one or you get this two. So it's either one of the grenades that you choose. But most of the time I would prefer to use the red grenade because he basically, as long this is there, right? As long you see this debuff on the boss or whatever, he'll automatically add an extra nuke at the end of turn. So you basically have a free nuke for 3 turns. So which is basically means more damage. More damage means Pog, yeah? But yeah, other than that, he can debuff as well, so that's great. You know, his damage is really nice now. So yeah, all around he's a really cool character now. Plus his animations are fucking sick now, you know, because I'm sure you already watched or read through the anniversary event, right? Because that is fucking Pog as well. I love the fucking event. If you haven't gotten him yet, now's also a good time. Really good time. Great character all around. Okay, so next we have Sochie. To put it simply, she's your sustain character that is usable now in full auto. Like, ever since she got her rebalance, because she technically did get a rebalance on the same day that she got her full limit break, right? So before this, she was very, very clunky. You couldn't use this at all, especially in full auto. At least now, you can automatically cast this skill. And whenever you Ogi, you have this Yonagi right effect thingy. And basically whenever the boss uses a trigger or whatever, it automatically activates this. So in a way, she is still providing you some sustain, even in full auto. But if you manual, then yeah, you can just manual press that, and it's still pretty damn good. So you get basically revitalize, sorry. You get revitalize, and you get echo as well, which is pretty nice, right? It kind of works like if you do not have the likes of Water Juliet yet, right? I would consider that full limit break Soshie can kind of be like your pseudo character for that type of reason. So like if you want to like full auto like Wilnas, for example, right? Like for Red Dragons or whatever you want to call them, she can be your character, like especially if you have like the likes of like Kag or whatever shit that allows you to, you know, get lots of hits and stuff like that, and you can just full auto everything. Then yeah, you can actually just do that, because you know you can probably get this occurred very, very easily. Plus she allows you to have this is actually really nice, because it just reduces the force pressure attack for quite a bit. And plus she has this as well, which is this special Fox Flame thing, which is very special to only the likes of Soshie, UL, and Cole, and what's the other the other small tiny little, the girl, I forgot her name, yeah, but that chick, yeah, that one. So it's really nice because like yeah, you get this, and also I think if I recall correctly, you have damage reduction or some shit. No, I don't remember actually. I might be tripping balls. Okay, now mind. But yeah, either way though, it's like it's still good because you get like this. You get extra charge bar gain up, you get extra multi attack rates, blah blah blah, and stuff like that. Like the sustain you get from her is pretty nice. She has a little bit of utility because of the echo you get from her, and the amount of debuffs you can basically just get from her alone, which is cool. Great. If you want to see like, yeah, just refer to that, like the video I did for her for like me testing and shit. You want to just see her in action, yeah, just go watch that video. Haha, yes. Next one, Urius. Watch yesterday's video. Alright, I'll see you next time. I mean, seriously though, like that I just explained everything yesterday. Like I already mentioned all that is need to mention, right? So like, end of the day, if you need a character like this, the one like massive debuffs and shit, you know, for far and all that crap, but you want him to be a much better character, then yeah, just go grab him. I don't think I go wrong with this guy, honestly. Like he's still gonna be key for maybe like Belial or some shit or something like that. But yeah, you want to see more? Just watch the fucking previous video. End of story. Alright, now back to Dread Barrage stuff. Okay, so Dread Barrage is coming out in June, blah blah blah. You already know the drill, right? So there are probably a few characters I probably would only mention right now if you actually need characters for Dread Barrage. Honestly, for the most part, just if you really think Dread Barrage is hard, just let your crewmates carry you, because end of the day, Dread Barrage is all about letting your stronger crewmates carry you anyway, so it doesn't really matter too much. Alright, so number one, Ulysses is gonna be great. I'm just gonna try to go through this as fast as possible. Ulysses is great. She's kind of like your lots of damage kind of type of character. She allows you to activate enmity immediately, all that kind of stuff. Zeta is gonna be great as well, but you need to follow me break her in order for her to be actually really good. Good full auto character all around, blah blah blah. Great. Lancelot and Vayne, OTK specifically. Athena is for all I can say is really just for full auto, mostly for full auto. Athena, if you really need a full auto character, because she can provide all the sustain you want or the sustain you need, yeah, she gives you all that. She does damage as well at the same time. Athena is still good until today, even though she's a relatively old character. UL is also another character, very, very strong utility character that if you so desire, the one that provides some heals, some multi-attack, echo, all that good stuff. But keep in mind that UL does not stack with Alanan's echo. Just a little FYI, if I recall correctly, yeah. But either way, just keep in mind that UL's heal does not work in full auto. Only that. But the rest works. So if you don't really plan to use her heal at all, then what's the point of using her, right? But yeah, just keep that in mind. Eidos is actually pretty good as well if you want to use him for like full auto stuff. Pretty good. But I would only consider him that if you want to use him, he's only nice if you're using the likes of what the fuck is her name? Where's that slut? Yes, Anturia, yes. So if you're using Anturia and Eidos, this two has probably one of the best combos right now because they can just basically keep your hype level thing up and running all the time. And Anturia is basically your character that allows you to like swap at any given time wherever you want. But also at the same time, she's good for full auto. Just really depends on what you want at a given time. So like if you think that you cannot really sustain enough, just click her second skill, allowing her to swap into a more defensive stance, which allows you to tank a lot better and stuff like that. So yeah. So at the same time, I would even consider like Anturia as a relatively not too bad character to have for full auto as well. She's pretty good. Tsubasa, I would only say that it's just better off being like a heavily OTK type of character. Only if you have problems gaining meter and damage at the same time. Because Tsubasa is a character that if you want to use him for OTK, he requires you to press at least his second skill. So that allows you to get extra like 30% meter for your entire party and get CA specs or some shit like that. Really, really strong. But I would only consider him if you're on the weaker side of things. So keep that in mind. The other ones are like Tabina. Nah, not really Tabina. Tabina is great for Fado. Abby, if I recall correctly, is somewhat okay for full auto, but I think in terms of like Dread Barrage wise, I would actually consider Vasiraga more. I feel like Vasiraga is a much better character to have in the likes of if you just plan to just full auto everything in the upcoming Dread Barrage next month. So yeah, Magisa, if you want Booba, yeah, just go ahead. But yeah, either way, she's not really a great character to have. Same goes for Flat Potato. Anturia, I just mentioned. Drank sucks. It'll not very situational, so I wouldn't really consider her good for Dread Barrage. Ganda is actually pretty good for OTK and a little bit on generic stuff. A little bit on Dread Barrage as well in a way that you can use. I think you can still kind of use, but I think for most probably it's better to just go for other characters. I wouldn't really say Ganda is a good character to have just for the sake of Dread Barrage. Eliza, massive tits. Okay. Sochie, nah, not that great. Greya, not that great. Metera is mostly for primal bursting stuff, but yeah, you don't really need her too much. Clarice, Satyr, Therese, Colossus, Siegfried. Alright, so Siegfried, mostly for OTK as well. I would really just recommend him just for OTK, but you can technically also use him as like a pseudo utility, sustain type of character, like a semi-tank. Because Siegfried can actually somewhat do that if you really need a character that allows you to do damage and somewhat like help you with OTK and also have a little bit of sustain in your full auto setup or some shit in Dread Barrage. He can actually do that, yes. So, yes, okay. So that's all I can say for Dread Barrage. I may miss something, but I apologize. If you really still need help, just come to my stream or some shit, okay? Alright, moving on. Huge disclaimer. I'm gonna say stuff about, or try to help you guys about the upcoming Guild War. But keep in mind, Guild War is all the way in July. I am 100% certain we're gonna get another Suptix by then. At least one more. Maybe not two, but one more, okay? But anyway, if you just want to rely on just having this current Suptix and maybe the next one to just help you with your Guild War and stuff, then yeah, sure, I'll try my best to help you with that. So Siegfried, good for everything now. He can OTK generic stuff. You can also somewhat use him for full auto and shit. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, you kind of need him to be like level 100 and shit. If you find that hard, then well, too bad, I suppose. But yeah, but in terms of like OTK wise, I would really suggest another character rather than him, because other characters are probably much better in comparison to what Siegfried has to offer. But like, if you want to have like a character that allows you to do a little bit extra in terms of having you to help you in like Guild War and stuff, because this guy can help you in Guild War because of his new first skill, which allows him to have what's that, the water cut thingy to everyone, and at the same time also he has like that, I think he has a water switch or some shit, so you can kind of help a little way in terms of sustain, but at the same time he does a lot of damage by himself, so he's actually alright. He's actually alright for that. Gandalf not really, Catherine not really, Arulu no, Razia no, Bale kind of, but not really. Herja is a meme. Malel is no wait, she got a full limit break, I forgot. Malel's full limit break is actually okay now, if I recall correctly, but I feel like you only consider this kind of stuff because maybe she might work for the full auto stuff. I wouldn't really consider her like really, really good for full auto, but she is really, really strong when it comes to like just basically generic stuff when the raid is like you're planning to drag out the damn thing. So Maleo can really be good because of that. So that's why at times when I look at her character skill set with Guild War, it can kind of work quite a bit. Because she can somewhat tank, she can do a lot of damage, she has this thingy, so it kind of helps. So she has a lot of sustain and stuff on her own and crap like that. Okay. Helly, I mean, she does a lot of damage, but that's the only thing she has. So not really. Nemone is a little bit outdated. Her weapon is only somewhat being used as like this garrison shit for Titan stuff, but not really that important. Vaseraga is I think you can kind of ignore him. Fiorito is still super situational. I wouldn't really suggest you to get her at all. Cagliostro, nah. Delafil, nah. Medusa, you can kind of use Medusa for OTK, kind of, because she can like counter and shit. So if you have a lot of like skill cap and stuff going around, you can kind of use Medusa for that. Eustace, no. Ayer is only for his weapon, so no. Soris is fucking amazing. You can use him for full auto, everything. No, not really for OTK, of course, but like full auto, he's actually really good for full auto. He's like, you nuke like crazy with this guy. As long as you're what's that, heavily focused on just skill damage shit in your full auto strat, Soris might be your guy. Because I know a lot of times I actually use him for like just for the hell of it, or if not, I just use him for like the burst setup. Well, not really a burst setup, but like a very slow burst setup, because you know he nukes a lot, right? So you can technically kind of do that as well, you know, similar to like what you need in terms of like proving grounds and such. So that kind of helps, but I don't think there's a favorite proving grounds coming up. It's more like it's going to be win favorite, because it's gonna give you probably the earth weapon for Guild War instead. So yeah, it's gonna be different. Dante is more, I feel like he's geared more towards OTK for the most part. You can actually use him for like the what's that? You can kind of use him for burst setups too, in a way, because you can technically double strike and shit for him. But I feel like for the most part, it's just better off just using him for OTK stuff. I've been using him for OTK stuff, and he's freaking amazing because his cap is relatively high, and he has his own personal buff or whatever shit. As long as his HP, he has like stamina, built-in stamina to himself or whatever. Ladiva is great for burst, but I think like what Earth is capable of, I don't think Ladiva is really that great these days. So I think I can skip Ladiva nowadays. Pengy is good for like burst as well. Can kind of work for OTK as well if you so desire. She's pretty alright. She has the unworldly shit going along with her. Well, not really unworldly shit, but like somewhat to the point like unworldly shit, because like she do because you see she consumes all the things, right? So technically she do start at how many stacks? I think like 10 stacks or whatever. Yeah, so she get like 10 stacks, you can just immediately Ogi and get a lot of damage. But yeah, it's all based on her stacks thingy, so she can kind of do that. But at the same time, she also kind of helps you if you're planning to do like, you know, do this kind of stuff, you know, allowing you to use this double strike shit. Not really double strike shit, it's more towards like, you know, a mini tag team, like only to herself kind of stuff. So she can kind of help burst down if you so desire, you know, for like Nightmare 95 and shit. But yeah, it's mostly towards like if you do not have those characters. But yeah, there are better ones out there if you're planning to use for like burst setups. Either way, Ilsa not really, Sarah not really, Yugu not really. Dianta is more towards full auto stuff. I will really just say it's full auto stuff, because Dianta allows you to clear and heal on Ogi, so that's nice. And plus you also get like an extra barrier, you also get extra like hype stuff and all that shit, so it kind of helps when it comes to like full auto. But who knows, summer character might have like the earth character and shit, so who knows, right? But yeah, then next is Mireli and Rizetto. This one is actually really good because you can somewhat burst with her, but she's somewhat of the slower type of burst. By slower type, I mean similar to the likes of, say for example, like Grand John or some shit. Like you need to go through a little bit, then she can really just, you know, she can hit really, really hard and like really, really well. But the only problem is like you just need to, you need to go through some turns basically. So like, say for example, like you want to try and burst like a Nightmare 100, 150 or some shit, she could potentially be very, very good in that sense. But I wouldn't really say she can work in full auto. I mean, you can kind of do it, but like, I don't know. I feel like she's more geared towards like the character that you just want to use for like that specific burst or some shit, or maybe like just a little bit of manual kind of thing. I wouldn't really say like she's great when it comes to like full auto stuff. Lamreta is, I just mentioned that, so I wouldn't really say she's that great for Guild War though, so I think it's just better off ignoring her. I mean, her skill set is okay, but I don't think she's that great for that. Jin, absolute garbage, ignore him. Last but not least, Summons. So we finally got him, boys. So we finally got our primals to be in Suptix. I don't think I need to explain much about this now, do I? If you need any primals, there you go. Just pick one. Yeah, I mean, it's fucking primals, right? Just pick whatever that you're aiming for. You're going for Zeus, go get that. You're going for Titan, go get that. Yeah, it's as simple as that, right? You don't really need me to explain this now, do you? But like, if you're not aiming, if you're relatively far from like your primals and shit, I mean, maybe it's probably better off just holding back and just go for like characters first or some shit like that. I don't know. For my case, like, you know, I'm missing Agni. Yeah, it would be great if I just Suptix Agni now or some shit, but like, I'm just not going to do that because I'm very, very far away from Agni, and I think at this point, for my case, I would rather just use it for, you know, helping out in my upcoming Earth Guild War or some shit like that, you know? Stuff like that. I would rather do that. Maybe it's different for you, maybe it's different for me. Well, that's the best part about being human, right? You choose. That's the thing. It's your money, you choose. I'm just here to suggest some things. You may think I'm talking shit out my ass, but if it didn't help you anyway, by all means, it doesn't matter. If you find this helpful, obviously, I would appreciate it if you leave a like and all that shit. Hit subscribe, share your friends, all that shit and stuff. Yeah. Yep. But as always, hopefully you find this helpful. And yeah, that's all I can say on this specific Suptix video. Yeah, thank you. But lastly, once again, if you have any problems, you can always hop onto my Discord. There are a lot of helpful people there. Ask for help or some shit like that. You can always just come on stream anyway and just ask people in chat if I'm too busy to help or some shit. If I'm too busy like farming Halo or some shit. Probably not though, but yeah. Just hop on stream, come on my Discord. Either way, it will work. Thanks for watching. I love y'all. I'll see you guys on the next video on stream.